Now let's talk about everybody's favorite query tool in a video entitled Easier Join Creation Through GUI. Now that sounds like a public service announcement. I realize that, but I wanted the title to really grab your attention here. There's a graphical query tool that can be used in SQL Server, and we can use it to even create our join queries. And this thing has a lot of power, especially for joins, because a lot of times in the real world, you're asked to join multiple tables, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've done, 18 tables, 20 tables to feed data to reports out there in the real world. And this query tool can really help. The visual aspect can greatly simplify the process and help you get your head around the data you need, where it is, and then you can test it and so forth. So let's build a query using the graphical tool, and we're going to build the exact same query that we used in the Creating Inner Joins movies, part 1 and 2. So we're going to use the person table and the person phone table, and we're going to do this graphically. So let's jump out to our friend, the Management Studio, and notice I'm in a query window just like normal, and I am going to, first of all, go up here and set my context to AdventureWorks. That'll be a problem if I don't. But I will right-click anywhere out here in this white area, and I will go down and choose Design Query in Editor. It'll take it just a moment to pop up here if you hadn't had it open in a while. And notice the first thing it asks me is, do you want to add a table? Now this is a little backwards from what we've been seeing. This is the name of the table, and then the schema is in parentheses. So we want the person table. There it is. There's person, and that's the person schema. So I can just double click that, and you'll notice it pop into the background. And then right here is our person phone table. I'll double click that, and then I'll close this. So there's my two tables. Now I'm going to pull these down so that we can see everything here. And notice if I just click and drag with the mouse, I can see the relationship. Now if I click on this relationship, not a lot happens, but if I right click on it and go to properties, I can see that this is the join right here. Notice it's the person.person business entity ID. Let me mouse back over it again. Equal the person phone business entity ID. Now, there's a lot of neat things I can do with this. I want to get the first name and the last name from the person table. I want the phone number from the person phone table, and I will just leave everything else alone. Now, I want to show you something because a little later on in the course, I'm going to talk about left joins and right joins and so forth. If I wanted to change that, notice this little triangle. If I mouse over it, it says Inner Join. I can right click and say select all rows from the person table, which is on the left, right? And if I click that, notice this is now telling me it's a left outer join, and it changed it right down here. Okay, I can come up here and right click and just toggle that back off. I can right click and say select all rows from the person phone. It's the right table. Notice it becomes a right outer join. We'll talk about outer joins a little bit later on and pull some of those. Now, here is our query. So I'm going to highlight this, and I'm going to copy it just in case. Okay, so I'm just going to click copy. But notice when I click OK, it puts my query right here. Now, it's not spaced out exactly right, and I can go play with that, right, and space it and put it just like I want it. And then I could go back and alias it, and all that stuff. But for now, I'll do this much right quick. And so there we go. There's our query, pretty close to that. Now, I want to show you something. If I highlight this query, I've still got it on the clipboard, but I'm going to show you. Let's say I hacked this query out and I typed it. I can copy it from here, right click on the white area, go into Design Query in Editor, and just skip the tables, paste my query in right here. And when I click up here, it will show me the diagram of that particular query. That is pretty cool. So if I know a starting place that I want to come from, I can go find all that stuff. Okay, well, I'm going to cancel that. And notice all of my query won't fit on the screen right here. But once I get it here, all I have to do is execute it. And there is my query. Now, if this is not exactly what I want, no big deal, right? Highlight this. And then I can, with it highlighted, click Design Query in Editor. And it will drop it straight in there for me. And I don't have to paste it in. Yet another trick, right? So I can just go play with this and say, well, wait a minute now. I also needed to get one of the business entity IDs so that I would know exactly who I'm dealing with. And I say, okay. And if I run that now, you'll notice that it picked it up and it added business entity ID right here. Well, wait a minute. I didn't really want that. So I'm going to go back, highlight my query again, go into the query design editor, And notice that if I expand this little area right here, I can grab business entity, drag it up to the top, and now notice it moved it down here in the query. There's a lot of power in this thing. Play with it. You'll find all kind of things, and you'll find some new things. Email them to me, but there's some really cool things you can do in there, and you can do a lot more than this. So this is worth a little Googling and playing around. A lot of power here, but especially when you're trying to build a complex join query, visually, it's very easy to find your data, check it, get it close in the query, get it real close, and then jump out here and hack it out in the code. So anyway, that's how to use that GUI tool to really help, especially on these join queries.